there is an underlying game of pushing each other's buttons, right? I mean, this is what we're going to see. How do you see that playing out, Gina?
Yeah, well, I'm not a psychiatrist. My background is in psychology. And I'll tell you, Charles, I've prepared many candidates for debate. And in these particular situations, Mr. Trump has a couple of things going for him. One that's big is momentum. And you've mentioned that several times on your show today. The other one is that when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you lied about. Hillary doesn't have that advantage. She's one of the most duplicitous candidates we've ever known. She has to be sure to try to keep all her lies straight. That's a big job. But one of Mr. Trump's disadvantages is that he's a man. And if his attacks come on too strong, he can make her look like a victim. And that's not where he wants to go either. So there's a lot of psychology at play in this debate.
Also, Ebony, a lot of people saying, and a lot of Democrats are complaining, saying that there's two sets of bars out there.
Sure.
One set very high for Hillary Clinton, the experienced politician. One set low for Donald Trump, who will be allowed to make gaffes and other mistakes with respect to policy. Therefore, it's unfair.
Well, I don't know how fair it is, Charles. Certainly they are being evaluated very differently. That's true. She comes to the table with a host of political experience. He obviously does not. I'll tell you, as a trial lawyer, this debate, especially this first one on Monday night, is going to be an exercise of reaction. This is going to be about how both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton composed themselves and really scaled their reactions to one another. As Hillary said, she doesn't even know what to expect, and she's right to be concerned about the duplicity of what Donald Trump will show up. But also, Donald Trump, I'm sure, is not completely certain as to how Hillary will project herself. She was one way in 2008. I expect her to be a very different way because that was not successful for her in the past.
You know, David, having said that, a lot has been made over the moderator, Lester Holt. You know, I'm not sure how much control he'll have over this, particularly if they start to go at one another, and also what sort of embedded ideologies he's had. Now, I heard Donald Trump say he's a Democrat, but I've also read he may be a Republican. How important is the role of moderator, knowing that the moderator in 2012 might have cost Mitt Romney the presidency?
Yeah, I think it's key that Trump and the Republicans lay out that the moderator should not be an active participant for the other side. A good moderator will keep the candidates on track, make sure the questions are there and they stick to the time limits, but let Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Trump respond to each other. Don't do their work for them.
I got to say respectfully, though, Charles, I don't know that any moderator can win or lose a debate for a candidate. I think that a good moderator should absolutely be expected and be in place. But if you're very good at what you're doing and you're a really strong debater, you can make sure that you get a positive result, regardless, even if you have a shady or corrupt moderator.
But having said that, though, Gina, think about this. If you feel like you know, the whole world's watching and the moderator is not helping. In fact, the moderator is trying to help the other person. You've already talked about how important it is for Donald Trump to keep his cool. And this will put enormous pressure on him, wouldn't it?
I think it will, but I also think that he'll be very prepared for that. That's the number one thing that I think most people are concerned about. I'm sure his team is preparing him well for that, and I doubt if that's going to be a problem. I think the biggest problem that could come up based on the moderator is if they try to ask a question that maybe undermines something that Hillary Clinton just wouldn't know or that Donald Trump just wouldn't know. Those are the kinds of gotcha questions that both candidates need to be prepared for, and that's very hard to do because they can come out of nowhere.
But should both candidates at this point know coulds and curds and all of that stuff? I mean, at this stage of the game, are there any more gotcha questions out there?
I think there are still gotcha questions out there, and I think we've seen that as we've watched both candidates go through this whole role. And I think that that's what the moderators are going to be looking for, is to try to see how deep the knowledge is from both candidates.
Let's just hope that the moderators aren't trying to make news. I think that would be fair for the voting public. Thanks a lot, guys.